What is up, YouTube? My name is Steven, and I humbly come to you today from the shack. Yes, I call it the shack. Maybe one day I'll upgrade to a shop, from a shack to a shop. You never know. We'll see how this goes. So, first video today, I am going to be doing a review on the 2022 Polaris Ranger 570 SP, and it's going to be the premium edition. Real quick, as far as like what content to expect from this channel, of course, being that I'm doing a review of a side-by-side, it's going to be involving off-roading, outdoors, going to have some snippets here and there of probably everyday life, as yes, I do have a family, and I want to include them on this journey because they have been kind of the backbone as far as pushing me, mostly my son. Like, hey, me and him follow and watch a lot of people. A lot of people that we watch are along the same content line as I'm going to be trying to get out there to y'all and produce. Again, I am so new to this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you got to start somewhere. I am filming on a phone with a selfie stick. Again, like I said, I'm coming to you humbly from the shack. So let's get right into this review. There's my 2022 Ranger 570 SP Premium. I know it's a mouthful, but let's see. You say, what's a premium? Well, the premium comes with the full skid plate from front to back, the underbelly skid plate. It is kind of a I've heard them say it online in videos like a UMH or UMV. It's pretty much just a thick plastic. I kind of prefer it because it kind of slides a whole lot better. Now, does it probably protect against a tree stabbing through it? I mean, probably not. But then again, I would rather puncture a hole in plastic than bend aluminum. I have seen some aluminum skid plates to where you hit something hard enough and it bends and it goes up into your drivetrain and hits your drive shaft. And anyways, I'm not bashing them, so I'm completely biased or whatever. So we're going to be going over the locks, dislocks, accessories I've installed, personal thoughts, stuff of that nature. And I'm going to try and keep it as quick as possible, not to bore a lot of people, because I'm sure a lot of people don't have these or probably don't care to hear about them, but that's fine. This will be pretty much the first and last review for quite a while, being that I've only had this for about 5 to 6 months. So this is really just my first, hey, I've got a good 900 miles and 75 hours on this thing. So I pretty much learned the ins and outs and capabilities of it. So let me start off with my personal opinion. This thing is amazing. I feel like Polaris they killed it. I literally feel like it is the OG Razor platform, because the way this thing handles, I'm not even kidding you. I have had this thing airborne more times than I can count. I mean, it tracks around corners and in two-wheel drive like crazy. As long as you keep your foot in it, of course, in a turn and out of a turn, it has pretty much zero body roll. I mean, this thing literally handles like more of a sport side-by-side. And again, I'm no endorsement from Polaris. I've owned many and many of side-by-sides, many and many of four-wheelers. I've had every brand that is practically made, except maybe for one or two that just recently come out in the past few years. But Polaris has exceeded my expectations. And like I said, to each their own. You buy what you want, and you pay for what you want, and you ride what you want. The only thing that matters is that we all enjoy doing the same thing, no matter what you're riding or driving or own or any of that nature. So, yeah, surpassed my expectations. Was a little worried of it being underpowered, being that I had a Sportsman 500 before this, which was not underpowered. The Sportsman 500 was absolutely, it was insane. It was, the power to weight ratio and everything on it was top notch to me. So going on up to a 570, just basically, I think it's 569. I could be wrong, but I'm not here to give you specifications and stuff of that nature, because you can look that up on your own. But still, basically for a punched out 500, this thing has plenty of power and torque. As far as I know, they upgraded the clutches on this. I do believe they went with a dual rate spring. Now, as far as major changes, I'm not sure, because I've never owned the outgoing 570 model, but I have met people and rode with people on the trails that have them, and I've had a couple of guys that have the outgoing 570 models and the 500, and they've rode this and said it's night and day. Smooth as butter. Like I said, I've jumped this thing, I'd say at least 3 feet in the air before, over some berms at some local parks, and it landed just like your nicer sport utilities. I mean, just like a Razor and stuff. The handling, insane again. The four-wheel drive, flawless, of course. Traction's never really been an issue. Let's see, as far as the cons, I really wish Polaris, this is a premium model. Really kind of my only argument, like, really, these tires I bought after like my second ride, no joke. They didn't even have 20 or 30 miles on them, and I popped a tire. So, and again, I don't know why they do it. They do it a lot. They even do it on some of their four-wheelers, the premium models. Why in the world would you put a 4-ply tire on a premium model? You can put premium wheels on it, not Stillies. So, needless to say, that was a $126 mistake. I ended up buying 6-ply. I bought the same size tire, just because I didn't feel the need to go any bigger right now, being that it's still under warranty and all that jazz. And with bumping the shocks up, it actually gave me about another inch. So this thing's sitting around 13.5 inches of ground clearance. I mean, if you look at that tray compared to the underside, you could, on flat ground, almost put that tray up under it. And that tray's pretty deep. And we'll get to why I got that out here in a minute. Yeah, that is one of my main arguments right there, is it's a premium model, but you put the cheapest tires on there you possibly could. I mean, you couldn't put some Bighorns on there or something like that, or even this brand, which is, that one tire is the cost of these 2 tires. Insane. But anyways, I'll quit harping. Let's see. Accessories, we'll get into here in a minute. I still want to stay on the negatives. So the wheels, not the wheels, the tires for one. And I've noticed another issue. I'm not sure if any other Ranger riders have noticed it, the 570s, but this line right here, it has a lot of tension on it, actually. Like, it stays up against there. Now that I've already got this on there, you can actually see where it has already wore a little divot, like a groove in there. So it is nasty in here right now, but I regularly clean this out when it gets too bad. Um, just because they have got the battery under here and the fuel tank and stuff of that nature. But that line, which is a cooler line that runs back to the motor, I'm guessing it goes to the top end of the motor, because this is your in and out for your cooling, and this just tees off of it. So I'm guessing that goes to another cooling port somewhere of that nature. But anyways, so no other rubbing anywhere else but right here. Right here was bad enough that the rubber hose itself, it rubbed it shiny. And I know it was shiny to begin with when I bought it, but you know what I mean if you've ever seen a rubber hose rubbed. It literally, it buffed it clean in that one spot. Other than that, that was my fix. This is just one of the bar clamps that came with my light for this. And it worked out perfect because, of course, it was the same diameter of the hose, and I was able to wrap it around it and not put it tight to allow the hose to expand and contract. So only other issue was the second day of riding. Also, you can't really see it, but there is a sensor that plugs in just under this fitting, and that is made, I guess, for it's the coolant temp sensor. And second day, I was going to warm it up. I was going to ride it around my neighborhood, which is great because where I live, people avidly ride their dirt bikes, ATVs, UTVs, and everything around on the road. And luckily, the police around here are super cool, and as long as you're not acting a fool running 100 miles an hour, they don't mind. But so I'm warming it up. I get out of my yard. I get to the stop sign, and it goes in the limp mode, and it shows the temperature is through the roof. So I'm sitting there, and I got a buddy with me, of course, and I just get done praising, like, oh, this thing is awesome. This thing is amazing. Blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, it goes in the limp mode right in front of him. And so we're both kind of thinking the worst, and I'm like, there's no way this thing is hot, because, again, I literally drove 100 yards. I started it up, let it run for about 20 to 30 seconds for the oil to circulate, and then, started driving out of my yard. Had it in low and everything. I usually run it in low. Anything belt driven, I run it in low for so long to get some belt temp up, and then I'll throw her in high and, let it rip. So we pop the back. I'm looking around everywhere. It's in limp mode. It'll barely go over a mile an hour. Like, it barely even moves. It's just jerking. And I'm like, there's something wrong. It's got to be a sensor or something like that. Because, again, I stuck my hand on top of the motor, and it was barely warm. It was like as warm as a heating pad on low. I don't even think it was 100 degrees yet. So needless to say, it was a sensor. And it was kind of like this one, where you had to push it in, actually push it in, and hear the snap. I wish I could really get in there and show you, but of course I got my phone, and it's really hard. But something for new and future owners to check. That was definitely an assembly line issue. And check the hose. There's nothing worse than getting stranded or a pinhole rubbed in there, and then you actually do run hot and go into limp mode, and you're in the middle of the woods. So that is my only gripes, is tires, a plug, and an unprotected hose. But hey, that's the least of your worries. Then that's the least of your worries. Let's see, accessories. I haven't really outfitted it like crazy yet. I did not get the doors. I did not get the full cab system because it only offered heat. And I live in the North Georgia area, and we have plenty of heat here. I mean, there's no need to have heat. When we ride, we throw on coveralls, and we dress for it basically here. The only thing that would have been nice to have was air conditioning. Now, if it would have had AC and heat, I would have jumped all over it. But for the price difference, just to get some heat indoors, no, I'm good. I'll wait on some half doors, some aftermarket half doors. So, only complaints there. Accessories, we have got the Super ATV. I want to say it's the Stealth winch. We have the Nylite. Let's see, what is that? The 16 inch, the 12 or 16 inch. I'm not 100% for sure. The light bar. We have the Boss BR226A soundbar. This thing is actually really loud. Considering that the way this cab system is set up in these Rangers, you have nowhere to mount anything. I mean, really, you don't. So I had to get creative and mount it up here. I used the hardware that come with it and just put a washer on there to keep it flat so it wouldn't like wobble back and forth. And I mean, this thing, it's in there. Let's see, interior light, of course, just the bar wrap battery powered light. We have got a voltage meter with USB charging plugs, got all my switches in there, got my winch, my light bars. Yep. So let's see, we installed rear facing lights. To me, every side-by-side should have rear lights, period. There's nothing worse than not being able to see behind you when you're backing up, which leads me to another accessory. I want to get a rear view mirror, but it's really easy in these to just turn around just like you're backing up a pickup truck. So lights, winch. Pretty neat thing with the Super ATV winch over the Polaris winch is it actually came with a wireless remote. And I think it was actually a little bit cheaper. Don't quote me, but it was either a little cheaper or the same price as the Polaris one that didn't even come with a remote. So win-win. And I'm not saying anything bad about Polaris genuine accessories. It's just, yes, sometimes they are really expensive, people, when you can get a cheaper option that has more pounds. Like the one they had me rated at was like 2,500 or 3,000, and I ended up getting a 5,000 pound winch. So that was a win-win. Under-seat storage. Under-seat storage is pretty neat. I've got first aid kit, electrical kit, plugs, saw, all my straps and everything fit under the seat. That is killer. Again, the storage on this thing, they knocked it out of the park with the storage. Even as far as the little storage bins. I mean, yes, it is just a plastic little fence or net per se. And then you've got them right here also, which I find those to come in handy, like if you want to put, like keys or your parking pass or, something like that in there, then you could put that in there and you don't have to worry about anything going anywhere. Glove box, again, glove box is actually really big, I think. I mean, let's see if I can actually get I can go all the way to my elbow. That's how deep. So I feel like my hand is probably like up here on this thing. So from that open door to that 5 probably is how deep it is. I mean, I feel like it's a good 12 to 14 inches deep. Seals pretty well, as I clean this thing quite often. I mean, you can't really tell by in there, but not a lot gets in there. I did see where they make like mud busters or something to go right there, but I mean, for $65 I can just get some black textured plastic and make my own, as they already are pre-drilled. So that makes a heck of a lot of difference on adding your own accessories, or just literally getting a piece of plastics, and maybe even similar to the skid plate, and just use a heat gun, heat it up and form it yourself, and save $65, $75. So that is my review. Hopefully I covered everything that I said I would. The pros, cons, the likes, dislikes. Yeah, hit that button and subscribe, and I will be back with y'all soon with another video.